One Africa dream?
Okay, I want to tackle on our leaderships of Africa. Our leaderships of Africa are in very poor performance regarding liberating Africa economically. They make themselves available and dependent on the Western world. They make themselves available and dependent, knowing that they've got the rest of the communities and the nation to liberate economically. So I mentioned that in my recent video, I mentioned that a ruling party, I started with Namibia, our country. And this is equally relevant to every African country. Ruling party, you say politics are dirty, you do not mingle with other opposition parties, you only mingle with yourselves to rule. But when you rule, you say you are doing service delivery and everything is for the benefit of all the people in the country, which is not true. You are excluding people, of course, you are excluding your opposition. And those are potential people that you can use in the government, potential ideas. But because it's coming from an opposition party, you will reject it and implement your nonsense. You see, if in one country we cannot work together as a team governing the country, the dream of having the United States of Africa is just shattered right there at the beginning. How do you want to rule 54 countries, one president, if you fail to work hand in hand with your people in the same country? Now you want to extend 2 countries, 3 countries, let's rule, let's make SADC, all this, this is a region, southern region, let's get our government. How how does 3 countries, at least I make an example with 3 countries, agree to be one government if in one country you have left out a lot of people with whom you can co-govern? Your opposition. To be opposition does not mean you are enemies. You are not enemies at all. You only disagree on opinions. You only disagree on opinions. That should not make you enemies. And that should not exclude you from benefiting if you're an opposition party. You cannot be excluded in being a beneficiary of the natural resources of the country, health, education, even during the implementation, making agreements, sitting there in parliament, running a ministry, taking responsibility. That is what it is. If we differ in opinion, that's when we have a different opinion and become an opposition party if you persist with the opinion that makes us to differ. Now, you can't have your fellow countryman who differs with you in opinion. You cannot take him in with the other opinions with which he suggests, propose, and you know these are good suggestions. Why can't you take him, give him the responsibility there? Ministerial. Now, if you fail to do this, how do you want to combine 3 countries, 4 countries, 54 countries? How will this dream ever come true? I don't see it coming into reality. All the leadership of the whole Africa, you can exclude 1, 2, 3. The rest, let's say now 50, the whole 50 countries, they are still attached to Western slavery, slave mentality, being bribed, looting. This is what they want. This is how they want to be voted to be looters. And continuing the slavery in Africa. This is what these African so-called leaders, because they are not leaders, that is not leadership, to continue slavery. You just become slave masters. Now we must go and vote for new slave masters. We don't want slavery anymore. We want progressiveness, positive development for our country. Our resources must benefit our nations first. It is time for Africa to rise. It is time for Africa to get to the top. It is time for Africa to look itself in the mirror and see itself shining. All the stars belongs to Africa, I would say. Let's keep it there. Join me in this agreement.